In today's economy, more people than ever are looking to buy and sell businesses. But how do you do it? Welcome to the Deal Board, presented by Transworld Business Advisors. Straight talk about real deals and real people. Listen to stories, interviews, and expert advice to help your business sale, merger, or acquisition process. Now, here are your business exit experts, Andy and Jessica.
Welcome back, everybody. And today we have an interesting show, and we're talking about changing consumer models, and specifically in two industries, restaurants and healthcare. And the name of the game in today's society and today's economy is change. And if we're not paying attention to change in our industry as business owners and entrepreneurs, sometimes it could pass us by. But we've got a couple really interesting topics to dive deep into today with two industry experts that really are on the leading edge of change.
Yeah, we have two people. We have Patrick Fore from Fleat.net. And Fleet's a great company. So their model and the basic way to boil it kind of down is they want to turn the restaurant business into the ice cream man kind of business, where you'd be sitting in your house and you used to hear the bells and you used to run outside and buy some ice cream. And it wasn't that you were looking to buy ice cream, that you ordered ice cream. It was there, so you decided to have it.
It was more of an impulse purchase.
What they envision is that these vans are going to be rolling around town and you're going to be able to buy food on the fly. You're watching the game and all of a sudden there's a pizza and they're going to have advertisements on your phone that there's a pizza. So it's a very interesting kind of model.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just building on the food delivery model that's totally changed the game in the restaurant industry, really in the last, 2 years, right? I mean, Uber Eats, Postmates, all that stuff. If you think about it's not that long ago. We're all now used to just having food show up at our doors, but it's only been a couple years. But this changing of the consumer model, the food coming to you, has really changed the restaurant industry and increased some sales in restaurants drastically and diversified their revenue as well.
Yeah, and it's really changed the way what restaurants need as far as facilities are concerned. I mean, I walk into my favorite Chinese restaurant and it has a ton of seating and it's constantly empty. And I'm always afraid these guys are going to go out of business, but there's people running in and out buying business in between DoorDash and Uber Eats. And the funny thing was people, of course, the Chinese restaurants historically were heavy delivery and they also employed drivers. But now you don't even need to employ drivers. These companies are just coming to your door and putting it all together, putting your menu online and then all of a sudden you're selling. I've seen some restaurants over 50% is going out the door.
Yeah. And to your point, it's not just the Chinese restaurants anymore. I mean, in our market, we have some very high-end restaurants that offer delivery now, and specialty foods and everything. I mean, you can pretty much get any type of cuisine you want, but it's really this changing consumer model of the food or the service being brought to you. And then I know our second interview too, different industry, but same type of change in the consumer model, right?
Yeah, so we have Sunil Shenoy from our staff, our M&A staff, but he has a huge healthcare background. He's been with private equity groups that specialize with healthcare. He's been on the board and employed by a healthcare company doing roll-ups. So over the years, he's seen a lot of change in healthcare. And what we're seeing now is going at a breakneck pace of changing the way we do healthcare. I know at my partner company, UFG, I was asking one of my coworkers closed the door and he came out and he goes, "Oh, I was just at a doctor's appointment." I'm like, "What do you mean? Did you leave?" And he's like, "No, I was on my computer going to the doctor." And I'm like, how amazing is that? All this telehealth now, that if you just need a prescription for a sore throat or if you need an update of some sort of prescription, you don't even have to go in anymore.
No, I mean, Zoom, how we're recording this podcast right now, video is very useful for these new doctor appointments. And then you also have the doctors, the concierge doctors that come to you or come to your house. I know one of our employees, 2 sick kids, didn't want to drag them to the doctor's office. So the doctor came to them, which is also amazing, by the way. I mean, how much time does it take to have to, take your 2 kids, run into the doctors, wait in the waiting room? So much needed, and it should take off, and it is taking off. But again, it's this concept of services coming to the consumer rather than the consumer having to go to the services. And it's going to be an industry game changer.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing worse as having kids than taking your kid in for a well visit to the waiting room. The doctor used to actually have two waiting rooms: sick waiting room and healthy waiting room, and it didn't matter because everybody got sick after they went to the stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, it's a game changer. I just think about the specialty medicines that you could get the best doctors in the world, and you don't have to fly to wherever you're going to. Obviously, hospitals around the world are now opening up outposts everywhere, but they're going through this consumer change as well. But it's all good. It's all good for us, and whether it be in the healthcare business where we're going to get healthcare by looking at our computer and talking to either our computer or some of those new Facebook phones or things like that, those little devices that you put on. I think those are going to be the hot Christmas gift maybe this year. And then, or like literally you're sitting at you're watching the football game and, Fleat Network, they have a client that's in the wing business or the pizza business, knows that there's a high concentration of people in your town watching the Miami Dolphin game because it's away. And they're just going to roll around the town saying, hey, hot pizza, hot pizza, hot pizza. And they're going to be shoving that into your phone. It's just a changing consumer model. And everybody's got to watch out and be ready to pivot.
Yeah. And I think that's the takeaway from the show. So if you're thinking, okay, how is this related to like buying and selling businesses or whatnot? But, here's two very different industries, restaurant and healthcare, and pivoting the same in a similar consumer model. But how can you take advantage of that in your industry? And really, at the end of the day, you should be paying attention to what's going on in your industry, because the change is either going to pass you by, or if you're able to optimize the change or be the leader in it, you're really going to add significant value to your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's got to be watching out for this. I always talk about how the taxi drivers were Uberized. They were literally run over, no pun intended, by the, changes in the way rideshare and way people get picked up and dropped off for a ride, riding on demand. And so that's going to happen. Everybody's looking for ways to disrupt your industry. So if you're not going to disrupt your industry, somebody else is trying to. So, we at Transworld, we are always trying to be on the cutting edge. We're always changing and experimenting with our consumer model and trying to make it easier for people to buy and sell. And I think things are going to change in the next decade. I don't think in 2030, buying and selling businesses, ordering food, going to the doctor is going to be the same than it is right now at the beginning of 2020.
Yeah, definitely. So take notes on the show, even if you're not in either of these industries or you're not interested in these industries. You never know where your learning is going to come from. Actually, one of my biggest learning lessons this year came from sitting down with a rancher, like cattle ranch, and I applied that lesson to my business. You just never know where the ideas are going to spark. But again, 2 great interviews, a great show, and we hope you get lots of takeaways.
Let's do it.
Transworld Business Advisors is the world's largest business brokerage and mergers and acquisitions firm with over 500 brokers in nearly 200 offices worldwide. Transworld's team handles thousands of business sales every year. To be connected with a qualified business broker or learn more about the buying and selling process, visit tworld.com/the deal board or call 888-719-9098.
Hey, we're back, and we have a very special guest with us. We have Sunil Shenoy from Transworld M&A Advisors, and Sunil's been working in many businesses over the years, and several of them, he's watched a lot of consumer shifts in consumer models, and that's what we're talking about today. And specifically, Sunil's been working in the comfort, what would you call comfort wellness? He does have a medical background and a kind of medical vertical slant on some of his acquisitions and sales and buy-side arrangements. But Sunil, let's talk a little bit about what you're seeing out there in the industry as far as wellness is concerned and changing consumer models.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. I think firstly, thank you so much for having me here. I love talking about this subject because it's very close to my heart, and I'm very passionate about wellness. Wellness is broad term. I mean, it covers physical and mental well-being, but it's a nebulous term that incorporates wide range of industries. And I think what's important about the demographics here plays a big role. We have more and more millennials right now in the workforce. Baby boomers are coming to retirement age, and we're seeing that they're more aware, and they're spending a lot of money on caring for their mental and physical well-being. Now that's resulted in a $4.8 trillion industry. That's the wellness industry as per the latest estimates by the Global Wellness Institute. And what's more astounding is that it's growing at 12%.
Wow.
At a rate of 12%. How many industries do we know that are growing at that rate?
Not many, and obviously it's a big deal. I mean, people are really want to be well, and there's so much information out there that is being passed around, certainly through the internet, and disinformation. So, what are you seeing? How are people kind of approaching this industry now, and how are companies going to be a part of that 12% growth?
Yeah, I think there are many areas. I think there's personal care and beauty, there's healthy eating, nutrition and weight loss, there's wellness tourism. With wellness tourism alone, we had 204 million trips into the US with a spend of $241.8 billion.
Wow.
So it's a pretty wide industry. I mean, wellness tech is a great area. $2 billion went into startups last year in wellness tech, which covers the mind, body, and space.
So talk about wellness tech, give me an example of a good wellness tech kind of thing.
Yeah, so I would say I'll take the example of a very cool, app that's called Calm. It's a meditation app.
Sure.
And I know you like to meditate, Andy. So
I'm trying.
I think you can relate to this, right? So, I mean, consumer preferences are clearly changing. Calm, you'll be happy to learn that the company raised $88 million in its last round.
Wow.
So that just tells us, how investors are viewing this space, So, yeah.
All right. So what else do you see? Like how obviously people are using apps and people are going online. So what do you see companies doing and what are some of the opportunities that we have? Obviously, we're going to talk about a listing of the week in a later in the segment here on the show about a wellness company that's in the sit-stand desk business.
Yes.
But there's other things out there, right?
There are lots of other things out there. I think, wellness, as I said, is a broad term. So I think we're seeing a lot of, activity in, I would say, even in physical therapy, in massage, and
in fitness,
in
nutraceuticals,
Yes, you name it. Holistic healing.
Yeah, holistic. I mean, and it's funny. You would think the days of the carpetbagger with snake oil would be over in the 1800s or the early 1900s, but it seems to be even more prevalent now. I mean, obviously, people are trying to get to the right information, so they're getting good products, and we see that, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think we are seeing more and more of that. I also see that. I think people are now realizing and learning, about the significance and importance of, an overall good mental, emotional, physical wellness program. And that's increasing, that's resulted in a huge industry around not just, cosmetics and and dermatology related stuff, but also what's interesting is people are now have got like Fitbit, for example. Let's take the classic example of Fitbit, right? Fitbit, what does it do? It tracks your heartbeat,
right?
It tracks your overall. It's got many different indicators for your health. So I think just look at the last acquisition that happened in this space was the acquisition of Fitbit by Google, right? So there has been a lot of focus, and I would say look at some very interesting startups that are coming up in this space, and also look at some emerging companies that we have listings for
Right.
in this space. And we'll be happy to share details with our.
Yeah, we have good listings, and we have plenty of buyers too, right? So we have
Yes.
plenty of people interested in the buy side. You were talking today about the 40,000 investors out there. There's so much dry powder out there that if companies are working in this space, and it goes beyond that, it goes beyond the way we're delivering medicine. I mean, the telehealth industry and all these things that are going to really change the consumer models, the way people get their healthcare, the way people are, I mean, just look at Amazon, the way people are buying food and what kind of food they're getting and what kind of nutraceuticals they're getting. I mean, it's just crazy, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's explosive. This is an industry to keep a close watch on, and there's going to be a lot more activity that we'll be seeing in this space.
Yeah, so there's a lot of good stuff. I think it's all good, by the way.
Yes.
I think this is positive for the consumer out there. It's positive for people that, I think people are getting away from highly processed foods, and those kind of things are coming to light, and more real results are being tracked now. I think that's one of the things that think something like a Fitbit or something, you could really have good data on what drives health or what drives wellness.
Yeah, you nailed it, Andy. I think I think people are very, they want to be very close to their health, and I think whether it's an app or it's office wellness program, or it's the type of food we consume, people are spending in everything linked to wellness. So I would say, we are doing a lot of good karma as well,
right,
by, investing, and also in this space, and, in terms of our own focus and resources as well at Transworld.
Right. So there's a lot of good things going on there. Transworld's at the forefront, and we are here to help companies buy and sell into this industry. And give us a call. And give Sunil a call. We'll talk more about the wellness industry. We've done a lot of deals in that space: nutraceuticals, health, insurances, certainly in the in all
tech,
kinds of tech as well. So give us a call. And
thank you, Andy.
It's great talking about this. So thank you for coming on today.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much, Andy.
Hey, Andy, do you know what time it is? It's time for our deal of the week.
Deal of the week. Sold. Hey, welcome back, everybody. And I have a returning guest, JT Tatum from Transworld Business Advisors of Western South Carolina.
North Carolina. And upstate South Carolina.
There you go. I'll get that right. We'll figure it out. But it's great having you on again, because you're just like a great deal maker, motivated, super energetic guy. And so tell us about another business you sold.
This is a great deal of the week here, Andy. We often work with strategic buyers. We talk about that, and foreign buyers. And foreign buyers, one of the best parts of us as Transworld is we have 3,000 listings and buyers coming in from all over the world. And in this particular case, we had a local restaurant. It was a second location for this particular restaurant owner. And after opening it, getting it up and running, he decided that he wanted to keep spending more time at his first location. So, hey, let's put it on the market. So I met him, and we sat down, went through what he thought he wanted for the business. And he was asking about $125,000 after a year of operation. They do about $600,000 in revenue. And most of the first year, obviously, was a lot of expense. So he wasn't showing a huge profit. So he said, let me just get out of it, a little bit about what I put into it. I said, that's fine, but I've got a service that we provide, and I think you should take a look at it. And he said, what's that? And I explained our broker opinion of value, being able to look at his business and multiple different measurements to see what the market would tell us that business would sell for. So he said, okay, I agree with you. Let's do that. So we did it. And after the broker opinion of value report and research was done, we came back with a listing price of $156,000, which was basically, $30,000 more than he originally wanted for the business. So we marketed it at that level, and was contacted by a buyer who was actually from Turkey, looking to come to the U.S. And buy a business so he could move his family here. He had 14 years of restaurant experience in Turkey, running a restaurant with his brother, doing $6 million a year in annual revenue, serving 1,000 to 1,500 people a day.
Wow.
I mean, this guy knows restaurants, okay? He sees this restaurant and says, I can do something with this thing. And so he was able to put a deal together. He has a friend that lives here in the States. They were childhood friends. The guy's a citizen of the U.S. It was an all-cash deal, and came to the table not only 156, but plus inventory. So that business sold for $165,000 when the original asking price in the seller's mind was going to be $125,000.
Right. So the payback on spending a little bit of money doing a BOV was highly rewarding.
Yeah, less than $3,000, put another $30,000 in his pocket. He was pretty happy with that result.
Yeah, and that's, we talk about doing deals and we talk about preparing to doing deals, and that's a great way to prepare to do a deal. It gets you in the right frame of mind, and it gives you the ability to show the buyer the thought process behind the deal, but behind the price.
Absolutely, because every buyer is going to ask multiple questions, Andy. You know that. I know that. Two of them are going to be, if the business is so good, why is he selling it? Well, that was an easy story to tell because he wanted to go back and concentrate on his first restaurant. The second question every buyer is going to ask is, how'd you come up with that price?
Right.
And so the BOV really gives us a way to be able to answer that question with some cold, hard facts. And in this case, the seller was more than happy to ask that price, and the buyer was more than happy to pay it, and it was a good deal for good people.
That's great. JT, if somebody wants to get in touch with you to do a BOV or to sell a business, how best to get in touch with you?
Yes. Best way to get is by email at jttatum, that's JTTATE as in Echo, M as in Mike, at tworld.com, or by phone 864-315-8998.
Great job. Great job getting that seller in the right frame of mind and bringing someone who obviously wanted to get out of a tough situation in Turkey to come here to live the American dream. Good job.
Good stuff. Thanks for having me, Andy. Appreciate your time, buddy.
Hey, we're back, and we are talking about, disruption and the change in the consumer model out there in the world, and everybody is, concerned when they're buying a business. Are they buying the right business that has a, current consumer model or one that could be molded? And there's tons of opportunity out there. And our guest today, Patrick Fore from Fleat Network, has a very unique business in the food delivery business. He'll tell you more, and that industry is on fire. So Patrick, welcome, and give us a little bit of background on what Fleat Network is and, how you got involved and where is it going?
Andy, great to be with you. Thank you for the opportunity to share. As a former restaurant executive for over a decade, I could tell you with high degree of confidence that the restaurant delivery marketplace has changed and evolved. And, I think a couple of your colleagues and I, we laugh about this when we're all able to shop now with convenience in mind, including, being able to shop in your pajamas. What has that done to traditional brick and mortar? And more specifically, what has that done to traditional restaurants, right? We're watching all of these convenience drivers change the way that food delivery happens. And so my company, Fleat Network, is designed to promote one thing, Andy. What we see, the grocery and restaurant delivery marketplace is becoming are third-party aggregators. What Fleat provides, in one word, is control.
Right.
Control over off-premise sales. And we do that with four important elements. We offer control over your brand, the quality of the food being delivered, the important customer data, and we do it with control over costs. And we think that that's a delivery 2.0 model versus where we're seeing Instacart for grocery, Postmates, DoorDash for restaurants being, I think, delivery's early days. And I'm sure you read the headlines just like we do. Something is changing. And the nice part is the customer is not going to stop demanding convenience. So at Fleat, we've got a platform, and we should think about it like that offers mobility. At the end of the day, Andy, the best way I could kind of share with your audience the view of the future is kind of going back into yesteryear. As a kid, you always wanted ice cream, right? And I didn't know I wanted ice cream until you heard the ice cream truck, right?
Yeah,
and
sure.
then what did you do? You went inside, right? Yeah, exactly. You hear the jingle. You go inside, get a buck or two from mom or dad. Maybe now it's like $5 or $10. You walk out and get like a dum-dum or a ho-ho, right? Well, immediately before you were doing that, before you had an ice cream experience, you heard the jingle, and it's the view of the future Fleat has is taking that same model of the ice cream truck, but modifying it for adults. What if there were a way to take the best and brightest parts of what a restaurant did, or the best, most high demand items and SKUs that a grocery did, put it on a vehicle, like really old school, right? Put their best and brightest of what they do, and then use software to just in time communicate, hey, here's what I got. I'm right around the corner from you. And we think at Fleat that gets brick and mortar retailers, the small mom and pops to the regional to the national change, it gets them a bullet against Amazon and what Amazon's coming for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. I have actually seen it in action. We have a fellow colleague, my fellow colleague, Mike Shea, and friend that is involved, and he's a logistics guy. And so I see him using this. I mean, he's a busy guy. He's got kids. His wife works full time in a hospital in the healthcare, and he's got two parents that he's also taking care of. Plus, he's my number one guy closing deals, and he has been using one of your customers to fulfill his needs.
And I got to tell you, Mike's a great guy. He's consulted and really helped my company advance our understanding as a former route service representative manager, general manager. And so there's value that he brings to the table. And in customers like Mike, who have let's be very honest, who has more time, right? We all want to be able to save that. How are we able to take what I say? How do we take the store to the customer's driveway, right? When we order something from a fulfillment provider, it could be Amazon. I use Amazon. I'm not trying to vilify that. This is not an anti-Amazon campaign. But when I do that, my customer journey's done when I hit click, right? I'm done. And I get this box. Maybe it's got a smile. Maybe it's not. But I open the box and it's exactly what I ordered. But that to me is what I call dead delivery, Andy. There should be something else in terms of an experience. And so when your food is cold, maybe there's a bite of the food that's now missing because the driver's hungry. I think it's easy to understand that when strangers are delivering strange food long term, it's kind of a strange brand value proposition.
Right.
And so that's why we want to advance being able to kind of be this mobility play, food anywhere right around the corner, and be able to use a retailer and restaurant use their loyalty, their customers' loyalty programs to communicate with their own customers. So anyway, I guess from my level, from a branding perspective, I see the advent of the future looking a whole heck of a lot more like the past. No, I don't think milk delivered at the door is probably going to come around anytime soon. But if you're over in England, it already happened, so it's possible. But to talk a little less about Fleat and a little bit more about where the changing dynamism for maybe your customers used to be the case where we would think about food or consumables or retail experiences with respect to proximity, right? What are we hungry for, or what do we have time for? Now the construct is what can be delivered. Right? Not what's convenient, that's always incumbent upon what we have limited time for, but now what can be delivered. And brands that figure out, I don't care if you're in the landscaping business, pool cleaning business, whatever, it doesn't make a difference. Brands that figure out a way to do something that blows the customer away, I think win, right? That it's the only way you're going to end up short-circuiting the customer's need for convenience. And that becomes the currency, right? Time is our new currency.
Right.
So I think that's an important takeaway.
Right. So it really, and I've been privy to looking at your platform, and it's really a congruence of technology. I mean, like, isn't everybody a technology company these days? I mean, that's what it takes to kind of implement and wow the customer, for you, I could imagine my phone jingling like the ice cream man asking me if I want to go out and get an ice cream, but or some other
You got it.
Right.
Exactly. And here's how it works. You and I are sitting down watching the game, having an afternoon or it's Saturday afternoon. one of us gets a text message on our phone or an email or notification or a social media thread that happens to basically take over our phone screen, like the notifications were, of an iPhone user and Android, right?
Right.
By immediately connecting with that available inventory, I'm able to say, Andy, no worries, I got some pizza and beer on the way. And you go, wait a minute, what do you mean? On the way, did you use DoorDash? No, actually the pizza and the beer are coming to me, and we have a chance to shop in real time. And oh, by the way, if my wife or another family member of yours walks in the room, we go, you know what, let's go ahead and get them to get something as well. It's the thing that you can't do, but all from the comfort of our couch. A couple minutes before the trucks arrive, you're getting just-in-time notification, and then you can communicate in real time with the driver. Hey, leave it at the front door. I'm not, it's raining like cats and dogs outside. But this notion of the only address that a retailer should care about is our cell phone is not new. I'm not creating a new construct when I say that, but that's what's on offer, and that's a little bit of how easy using our hardware/software solution kind of gets that differentiation, right? It's not just dead delivery. It's not strangers showing up at your door. It's a branded vehicle with the ability to blow the guest away by asking a simple question. Hey, Andy, you got dinner? No problem. But have you thought about lunch? Have you thought about getting somebody up for a neighbor next door that might be in ill health, right? It's that, wow, you're doing something as a brand that I didn't expect. That, I think, is where we're going in terms of retail.
I agree. So it sounds amazing. Where can somebody learn more about your business? So if they're a company and they want to implement something like this, or if they're a consumer, maybe they're interested to see if it's in their area, what's the best way to kind of see what you're doing?
The website is www.fleat, F-L-E-A-T, a little play on words, Fleat.net. There they'll find not only our technology stack that's available from a software as a service, but also several videos that show you exactly how we're mobilizing ghost kitchens, right? This is our first use case. That's the best way, and my contact information is on there. If your listeners have any questions, I'll give you my email. It's Patrick@Fleat, Fleat.net, and happy to engage with the listeners that you have and answer questions.
Patrick, thank you so much for coming on today. Very interesting stuff. And yes, the world is changing extremely fast. So look forward to seeing more from you.
Andy, thank you.
Hey, Jessica, you know what time it is?
Money time?
Almost. It's time for Listing of the Week.
Hey, we're back, and it is Listing of the Week, and we are talking about innovative companies and changing consumer models and all kinds of great things. And I have Sunil Shenoy from Transworld M&A Advisors, our M&A division here at Transworld, dealing with larger companies and companies that need to be sold in a different manner. And we've talked about M&A before here on the deal board. But Sunil, welcome. And let's talk about this deal. It's a unique deal, right?
Absolutely. Hey, Andy, thank you so much for having me again. Great to be back, and so excited to be talking about this great, innovative business. It's related to sit, stand, desks and ergonomic furniture. But what's really path-breaking about this company is it addresses a big issue today that we have globally. We have a population of approximately 3 billion people around the world globally that have, desk jobs. And, in the United States, the statistics are alarming. 84% of our workforce has a desk job.
Wow.
Yeah. And, at the average time someone spends at sitting is 10 hours. And a lot of research has gone into this. There's a book called Get Up and Start Moving Around, by Dr. James Levine, who says, sitting in your chair is killing you, because the research shows that sitting for extended periods of time is resulting in serious chronic illnesses such as diabetes, cancer, heart diseases, and the consumer today is, as you can imagine, there's a shift in the demographics. You have more millennials, out there. And they're seeing this and they're looking at this and they want wellness programs in the workspace. And so that's resulting in a big shift. And I think our client is at the forefront, frontier of this, addressing this area which is phenomenal. I mean, it's predicted to be a $2.8 billion industry by 2025, sit-stand and desk industry. And there's no one out there who's got a solution like our clients.
Right. So it's a great opportunity for someone to buy into this, incredible industry. Like you said, it's just going to explode, that people are doing more and more desk jobs, and the research is out there. And so this gets you up and moves, but we don't want to give away the company. So tell us a little bit about the opportunity and what's involved and what kind of buyer would be great for this company.
Yeah, this is a fantastic company, American company based in Manchester, New Hampshire. They've got a 12,000 square feet facility out there, and they've been doing a great job at producing products which are sit-stand desks for the workspace, as well as a healthcare product, and they've got an enterprise software as a service-based application. So it does about the company does approximately $6 million in revenue and about $1.5 million in EBITDA.
Yeah, and growing, right?
And growing phenomenally. I think it's going to explode with the innovation that they're doing in the wellness tech app. I think it's going to explode.
So this is a great acquisition for a tech company. It's a great acquisition for someone in the office furniture space. It could be a really good acquisition for a company that wants to grow with this incredible technology.
Absolutely. This has got, it's a great company also for any international buyer who's looking to do a foray in the United States. It could be a furniture company. It could be a tech company, wellness tech company out of Asia, out of Europe, out of anywhere in the world that's looking to make an entry into the U.S. market.
Okay, so how best to get in touch with you so they can learn more about the opportunity?
The best way to get in touch with me is go to the Transworld M&A website, look me up. I'm part of the team there, and my email ID is there. So, and my contact details are available.
And we'll drop all that into the show notes. Sunil, thanks for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, Andy.
Thanks for tuning into the show today. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends on social media. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcasting app. If you have questions, would like to appear, or have suggestions for topics for the show, get in contact with us through our website, thedealboardpodcast.com.